And we are live. Welcome to another episode of the Uncensored Entrepreneurs. Today really applies to everyone that's going to be watching, whether you're watching live or later on the replay. We're going to be talking about building your brand credibility in the marketplace. So whether that's online or offline, we're going to be discussing all of these strategies today. So stay tuned and we'll see you on the inside.
Aren't we like jamming out to that song?
There we go. I'm usually playing drums on my desk, during the tapping. So I'm glad people can't hear that.
We get so many compliments on our intro, but I absolutely love Christina's badass dress that she's wearing in that. She's a badass in that dress. Let me just tell you, if you're following her on social media, you'll see a bunch of her little pictures with that dress on, and it's badass. Let me just tell you.
You know what I got to tell you? I got that dress. I had a last minute event that I had to go to, and I got that dress at a consignment store, one of a kind, walked in, fit me perfectly. And I was like, yep, that's my Sex and the City dress. I'm out.
Listen, that definitely is your Sex and the City dress.
Just for those that are tuning in and listening to the conversation about Christina's dress, I ordered this T-shirt online. And I purchased 3 of them without even trying it on first. So
impressive.
In all different colors.
But I think
it's always got to be dark or earth tone. Kelly's always like, why? This is me stepping way outside of my comfort zone, right? She's always like, I look in your closet, everything's gray, black, earth tone. I don't know.
Listen, Paco, Tony moved in a couple of weeks ago. And so, we're sharing closet space, and listen, I had to overcome my closets and let him have some. However, we have another closet that he's using too. But you open his closet and there's all these nice bright colors and pinks and yellows.
Yeah. And I'm like, isn't it like a perfect way though to start talking about like how to stand out and build credibility? Because,
absolutely.
A lot of the times it's those bright, like, eye-catching photos. It's those, those branded photo shoots that we do that make just that little extra level of professionalism, right? That little extra level of like, wow, like that's not just me taking a selfie with my kids at the beach, right? And that's okay too. By the way, that's okay too.
And here's the thing, I'll throw one more thing in there. When you talk about credibility and building that brand around your image, it's really around you, like how people connect with you, right? More than anything. So like whether you, and that's why I just want to make sure people understand, like if your brand is built around like riding a Harley Davidson, then that's the type of stuff that you should be, wearing.
And every time anybody sees like a white or a light pink like image or anything, they're like, right. I immediately think
of you. I do too. I go to the store and I see pink. I'm like, oh.
And I love that. Yeah, I love that people, assume like, ooh, like somebody sent me this picture for Christmas or for my birthday. And they're like, hey, I just thought this was, totally you. And I'm like, it totally is me. Like she's going places and it's pink and white with rose gold.
It looks customized, like to
really?
Your journey for sure.
Yeah.
So welcome to the Uncensored Entrepreneurs. As you can see, we're missing one of our co-hosts today. So Star, we look forward to seeing you next week. And hopefully everything that you're taking care of today and the remainder of the week is awesome. So
and we still have a half co-host here today.
We still do.
Is to come out.
He's taking up residence, okay?
Like, we're gonna start paying this dude rent. Like, come on, Isaac. You need to get Vámonos. Maybe
Yes.
he only speaks Spanish. Maybe we got to speak Spanish to him. Vámonos, papi. Vámonos.
Christina, you are still glowing, so I'm not going to take that away from you at all. But I will say, for those that are tuning in, that
just like
don't know, every once in a while I see that that kind of that deep breath or that sigh that you got.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that he is taking up residence, but he's taking up a little bit more these days, right?
He's overstaying.
Yeah,
he's overstaying his welcome.
Yep, absolutely.
So, building your brand credibility online and offline is so important. So we're discussing those today. So if you guys jump in, let us know if you're watching it live. Let us know if you're watching it replay. Your mom says, come on, Bambino. I want to be in Mama. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, that's it.
My mom's not coming till March 1st, so we got some time, Mama. Don't worry.
Okay. He can get settled in. He'll get settled in first, so.
She can be walking around in the background holding the baby.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. I know. She will. Then you guys will get to see her live, right?
That's right. Oh, I would love that. I would love that. I would love that.
Would love that.
So let's talk about building your brand credibility, right? It means so many different things. I mean, when we talk about just a digital, kind of that digital space, the digital marketplace that most of us are in, right? People that are tuning in, it tends to be some of the typical things that we hear about, right? It's like making sure that you have a website or a landing page, something that you can point people to share a little bit more about you, right? But it's so much more than that. It's so much more even than social media, because social media nowadays, right, can become very diluted. We know that most people are, unfortunately living their fake life on social media. It's kind of the reason why we've even created, what we've created here with the Uncensored Entrepreneurs. Yeah, kind of uncover those things to let people know that not everything is perfect in this digital, ecosystem that we've created. So let's talk a little bit about the stuff that we are aware of, right? Like, so what are some basic ways of branding yourself online?
I think the biggest thing is to find out first what your mission is and what your vision is. What do you want to be known for in the marketplace? What do you want to be known for? Like, what are those words? And what I do with my clients is sometimes they're like, I don't know. And I said, listen, put on social media, what are 3 words you think about when you think about me? What are the first 3 words that come up? And those first 3 words are what people see you as. Whether it's inspirational, it's, motivation, it's, a badass, it's fun, it's whatever. And those are the kind of words that are going to be around your mission and your vision, and then kind of make sure that they're still in line with what you are wanting to show out in the marketplace.
And I think, there's so many people out there that are trying to gather attention, right? Like the social media scene has been absolutely inundated with people that are now trying to sell stuff online. And so I see people make this massive mistake, and I see it all the time, that they're constantly chasing the dollar and they're posting whatever this trending right now or whatever this is. And it confuses the crap out of your audience, by the way. Like, nobody actually knows what you're selling. Nobody actually knows who you're helping. Nobody actually knows what you're doing right now, because you haven't realized that it's important to build community, and that community is attracted by your values and your belief system and the conviction that you have and how you help people. And so having consistency through your brand, but also using different tools and different avenues to be able to put yourself out there. We're going to talk about, Tina, you help people write books, having a podcast, having an opportunity to speak on stage in front of different audiences, and putting yourself in positions where you can network with different people at live events.
Creating masterclasses, like you just had a 9-day masterclass that you hosted, and just giving all that abundant, valuable content that you just poured into people.
Yes, absolutely.
Testimonials too. You want to have those testimonials from all that stuff to build that credibility.
Yeah, absolutely. Sherry says, I learned the hard way that doesn't work, right?
Yeah, we all did, I think, at some point.
I think every single one of us has. And it is, it isn't just about one medium, right? It's about trying a little bit of everything, as you stated earlier. And what I love about building brand credibility is I look at it even in a deeper level, and saying, how do you build a know, like, and trust factor before someone has even done business with you? And so it's typically not following the trends, like you said, Christine. It's not just focusing on the products and services. Obviously, that's important, right? That, you know, how the products and services can help somebody solve their problems. But at the end of the day, it's, you know, how do they build the know, like, and trust factor just based on, okay, we've got testimonials. That's one great way that people can kind of, you know, connect with you. But it even goes deeper than that. And that's why I always tie in
that being relatable, you know, what I mean? Like,
absolutely. I always tie in that personal branding aspect.
When I tell people like my story, you know, I tell people, you know, like 5 years ago, I, you know, lost my six-figure income job. I got a divorce. I became an empty nester when my youngest son decided to join the army. I, you know, had family turn on me. And so people hear that divorce, they hear the empty nester, they hear the military, they hear moving, they hear losing your job, they hear, you know, homeless. So they hear all these things that sparks, you know, I've been there, I did that, I've been there, I've been there, I've been there. And that builds that relatability. And so now you're piquing their interest.
Yeah.
I remember that first time I got off stage, I was on stage telling my story, like everybody was on the phone or, you know, whatever. And as soon as I was like, you know, I was an empty nester when my youngest son decided to join the army, you know, 15 or 20 people raised their head because either they were an empty nester or, you know, they know somebody in the military. So it just brings that relatability up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's it. It's that true connection.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of different ways you can do that, right? If we just start talking about social media for right now, I feel, I mean, you know, how many of you do any type of collaboration or business with somebody and all they ever do is talk business? I mean, I'm talking 24/7. I'm talking Thanksgiving Day. I'm talking, well, it's different for different areas, right? But I'm talking Christmas Day. You know, here's my Christmas special, right? Slaps it right in your face. And I mean, business is great. Don't get me wrong. When I was younger, I used to just live and die and breathe. Like every little thing that I did was all about business, all around the clock. But a lot of things in my life suffered because of that. Yeah. And I also didn't build a lot of that true, like long-lasting credibility without people knowing just a little bit more about like me, like who I am, who, you know, what are my values. And so I attach core values to that brand credibility in a major way. They're things that will never change. So it's your religious beliefs, right? If you have them, it's your family beliefs. It's those core beliefs that no matter what, products and services can come and go, but it's one thing that you would absolutely never change. And it's because it's your core belief.
Yeah. I remember
it's the hill that you're willing to die on, right? It's the hill that you're willing to die on.
That is.
I remember talking to a friend of mine, and it was, you know, earlier last year. And she was like, you know, I need a friend. You know, I pay all these people, you know, all these coaches or whatever to be my friend, to be my friend. I need a friend. Like, just a friend. And so many, well, a lot of women feel like that too, but so many entrepreneurs feel that way. You know, because a lot of our online best friends are in business with us. So if they weren't in business with you, or if they left your company, or if, you know, they no longer are doing business with you, would you still be their friend?
That's a interesting question, because I've had different changes and shifts in my life over the years, going from, you know, the bar industry where I would get people VIP and they get free cheap drinks and stuff, you know, like they get free entry and I would take their coats behind the bar, and it's like high service for them that they want to come visit you. And then when I stopped doing that, friends faded away. When I stopped doing hair, friends faded away. When I, you know, started in network marketing, friends faded away. And you start to realize that the relationships that you build are the ones that you nurture and you put time into, and that true friendship is actually really hard to find. And I also, you know, the other piece of it, Tina, is that and maybe you disagree with me on this and we can have a conversation about it, but like, I think it's important to be human. I think it's important to bring vulnerability and connect with people and, you know, give them love. But I also think it can be really difficult if we wrap up our identity with friendships and business and don't just see it as business. Because a lot of the times, you know, if we have a personal relationship with somebody and they come into a program or whatever, maybe they're not as coachable. Maybe they're not somebody that wants to learn from you. Like I've literally had somebody say to me, I'm not here because I want to be called on my shit. And I was like, maybe you shouldn't be here then. Like maybe we're not going to go anywhere together.
in order for you to grow, you've got to be called out.
That I do.
Yeah. No,
And I said,
that's so true. And here's the thing too. I think a good way to start right down this avenue is to take the word selling and sales like completely out of your vocabulary. Just like absolutely figure out a way to throw that completely off the table, because as you're getting to know someone, as you're building rapport and you're truly connecting with your clients, you're solving problems at the end of the day. Yeah. And the beautiful thing about that relationship is typically when I do a deep dive, I find that through that collaboration, they're able to help me with some things in life as well, right? Not just the monetary exchange from business to business, but the fact that they may have another connection or somebody else that I can help. Or maybe I have a problem that they actually have a connection that can solve my problem as well. And so it is building that, as you said, Christina and Tina, it's like building a friendship. It's building a true collaboration where, these are long-lasting relationships. And so throw the sales thing right out the window. Yes, at the end of the day, there's an exchange of products and services and, and some type of a monetary exchange, but really look to solve problems in life and you'll actually see your business fly.
And friendships too, like I want to address that as well, because friendships do happen and they're something that I'm so grateful for, because you find like-minded people. But you know how you have a true friend? Is when you continue to nurture that relationship, you continue to speak to people, you continue to cheer them on, even if it doesn't benefit you, even if they don't buy services from you, even if they don't join your team, even if they don't follow you to another company, right? Whatever that is, true friends are there because they want the best for you, not the best for them. They want the best for you. And when you can differentiate those things, and it's really easy to pick out the people that you want to continue to have relationships in your life. And it's really easy to spot the fakes. Like super easy to spot the fakes.
Sherry Anderson, you have a great comment here. Is when I
want to leave this up.
I lost all my friends. Let me tell you, is when I was before I started my healing process, when I was way over here, before all that stuff happened, I had this group of friends. Then I started to heal and started to do things. And I started losing people and losing people, and then gaining a few others here. But then also like, oh, well, you're not very good here. Let me kick you out, because now I'm starting to heal. Now I'm starting to process things. Now I'm starting to understand where I need, and my circle is just getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller.
Right. And here's the beautiful thing about that. During transformation, like during breakthrough in life, it's always good to remember like where you were at. And so, reaching back down to those that are sitting in that same circle, in that loss, that pain, whatever it is, and to actually help them, like carry them with you on that journey to actually healing and to experiencing transformation and breakthrough. The thing is, though, is that some people aren't ready for that, right? So when you do reach down and you're trying to bring those people that are part of your tribe forward, and they're wanting to sit in that place of pain, they're just not ready yet, whatever that may be, then you do have to move on, unfortunately, right? There's ways of still supporting them, but you have to move forward. And that's what typically happens, like with what you're discussing, Tina, and what Sherry said, is the fact that, when you start to heal, there are people that just, they don't want to see you succeed in life because you were part of that, that pain, that circle of pain and loss that just sits there and doesn't resolve things in life. So unfortunately, it happens.
Can we also talk about how difficult it is when you decide to separate yourself from the rest? And this has a lot to do with creating credibility and brand building, because when you start to create credibility, when you start to put yourself out there at a higher level, because that's how you create credibility, right? You start putting yourself and your thoughts and your vision out there for people. It can be separating season. It can be where people are like, oh, look what she's doing, or look what he's doing, right? And it puts you in this position where you're going to have to choose between people that want to keep you small and people that are going to encourage you to become the best version of yourself and join you up here. And there is a shedding process, but in the same sense, you have to understand levels of desire, right? You have to meet people where they're at, as opposed to be like, well, you should be doing this, you should be doing this, you should be doing this. Well, no. What do they feel called to do? Because you can never motivate people to take action. All you can do is inspire them by your action. So if you are the person that is, I love Brian. Hey, Brian.
I know, but I love that comment too, right? It's everything you're saying. Dogs don't bark at parked cars, my friends.
That's exactly it.
God prunes us. He prunes everything away, right? Okay, this is not working for you. This is not, benefiting you. This one is dead. Let's cut this one off completely. So then that way new things can grow. So when you're going through your transformational season or your healing season, God is pruning things away. He's taking things away from you that doesn't
serve you.
That doesn't serve you, but he's also making room for those that will serve you.
Absolutely.
And, Tony and I, we do a devotion every morning, and it's been like God's been talking to us like for like a week now about pruning and pruning and pruning, and we're just like, oh, maybe he's trying to tell us something.
Yeah, it's so true, right? It's weeding, it's pruning. The beautiful thing is, though, right, when it comes to actually the spiritual sense, it's easy then just to continue to support those people through prayer or whatever it is that you're connected with, right? Like I'll continue to support you that way, which is extremely powerful, but I can't unfortunately use my time that could be used to help somebody else that's willing to make a change, right? And so we tend to, like you said, just prune and move forward. But I can help you through prayer and some other things. And maybe just by planting the seeds that we plant, if today isn't the right time, then in the future, there are many people that come back around, right? How many clients, or I should say prospects, have you worked with that just, today is not the right time. They're not in the right mindset or heart set, whatever it may be. And then years later, they reach out to you, right? And that still comes back to building your brand.
Happens.
Credibility, though, in the marketplace, meaning being your true self going forward. If I'm the same person preaching the same exact type of thing 3 years from now, then people know that that's my truth, right? And they can reconnect with me. But if they see me, as you said earlier, Christina, bouncing all over the place and I'm crazy and, today the world's pink and tomorrow the world's blue and whatever that may be, right? Then people can't really connect with that and they won't build those connections, years to come.
It's not trustworthy.
I literally just had a last week sign up for my my DIY course that I just launched. And she was like, Tina, I've been following you for like 4 or 5 years. And I love that every morning I can get on Facebook and see a positive, inspirational post from you. And I was like, oh, well, thank you. And she was like, I just love to see your transformation over the years. And it's still the same. It's still the same brand. It's still the same topics. It's still the same you. And she signed up for it. And she was just like, I'm glad that you did this because it's something that we needed. And so, don't stop doing what you're doing. Still provide all those positive things because you never know, like, me being the gratitude specialist and everything, I'm always teaching about gratitude. But let me tell you, I was in a very dark place for a very, very long time and sometimes get back in there to this day. But though being that positive, having those positive motivational things on your social media, you never know what you're going to.
Absolutely. They're there for you just as much as they are for somebody else, right?
Yeah.
And that's it's having the tool set to be able to remove yourself from those ruts, those dark places, whatever it may be. But that's being transparent. And that's another great way, again, to build brand credibility. Yeah. Knowing, letting people know that you're, vulnerable enough to share the good times and also to share some of those bad times as well.
And those authentic moments that you share, and I hate bringing this up all the time for you, Christina, but I remember one post that you put on there, and you were literally crying on the post, and there was thousands of people who were watching and commenting, and I was like, oh wow. So it's those authentic times that you're like, I'm having a hard day, or I'm having a rough week, or this is happening, and I'm struggling with this. That makes you instantly relatable to somebody, who is watching you.
I wouldn't recommend showing up every week crying online.
No, that's, again.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, we like to teach
there has to be some resolve, right?
Yes. We want to teach there, but a lot of people also know that I suffer from PTSD, and that was something that I really had to learn to live with. And that sometimes when I cry, it's literally like just emotion flowing through me, and I'm like, I can't help this. Like, I'm very aware of what's happening right now, but I can't help this. And to be able to share that with somebody, like, I'm not embarrassed by it. No, I'm not held back by it. It's something that I now understand and can empower me to help other people that have gone through that before. And so it's really taking the vulnerable pieces of you, usually the pieces that we feel a little bit embarrassed or shameful of, and we work through it and we grow through it and become stronger through it. And then we can help other people that are just a couple steps behind. And that credibility is because we are the example, not because we're telling them what to do, but because we are actually the example of it. And when you start thinking about how to put yourself out there, right? Like it can be a bit scary, right? Raising your hand and say, I'll speak at your event, raising your hand and I'll put a chapter in a book and say, yeah, I'll give you my heart and my soul in this. And I don't know how this is going to go, but I think that this is going to be impactful for someone. And it's putting yourself out there in a way that you want to be remembered. Like I constantly think about like, what happens when I die? What's the legacy that I'm leaving? What are people going to remember about me? How did I impact them? How did I help them? You know, good, bad, ugly. What does that look like? Hopefully the majority of it is good and that they feel better about meeting me in the process. But we all have to have that courage and that bravery to stand above what everybody else is doing and have the courage to speak our true thoughts, our true voice. There's too much vanilla out there and people don't care about vanilla.
Yes.
We want vanilla. We want a rocky road.
Chocolate peanut butter.
So this is a perfect
Tony's chocolate peanut butter too.
So this is a perfect segue into the fact that, you know, so online, that's one way to share your story, right? Just getting out there, sharing a little bit about yourself. It can be a static post where it's just pictures of you, your family, the things that you're interested in, whatever that may be. But taking things even a step further in something that actually can help you bridge the gap from offline and online are some of the things that each one of us, right? Like, so let's start with your favorite topic, Tina, and that is getting your story in print. I recommend, by the way, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but I recommend just writing things down anyways, right? Journaling as much as possible, because from that, you'll not only see some transformation in your own life, you'll start experiencing breakthrough just by writing things down. But it becomes so real that you start to understand the fabric of your story that you're able to share with others to help them experience that same breakthrough. So one way that you can do that is by getting your story out there, right? Not just in blogs, not just in posts online, but actually to write your story. And you can do that through collaborative authoring, right? Books, or you can do that through having an opportunity to write your very first book. And there's a transformation process that you can share, Tina. But let's actually talk about this new course that you've just launched. I think it's amazing. It's a huge opportunity for people that are just looking to break through in that industry. So tell us a little bit more about that.
So it's called the Aspiring Authors Academy. And I did that because my mentor and friend, one of my besties, was like, Tina, you need to find a gap in the market. She wasn't yelling at me. And it was Christina. I was like, I need something else. This is not working. And I always wanted to put it into a course. And another one of my mentors, Jenny Potter, she was like, Tina, you got to put it into a course. I could sell this to so many people. And I was like, okay, I'll put it into a course. And I had already been like working on the course, but both of them were like, we need this. And I was like, okay, done. I'm doing it. I'm focusing for 3 weeks solely on doing a course. And it is basically just helping you, guide you step by step of self-publishing your book. And one of the biggest things that I've helped over 60 entrepreneurs write their best-selling book, all hit #1 bestsellers. And majority, I would say 50 or so of them were all their story of how they got to where they are today. And a lot of those, I mean, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, sexual abuse, physical abuse, homeless, I mean, in prison, I mean, all of these things. And they were able to put that into stories. And let me tell you, that one chapter, and you guys all know that one chapter of your life, right? You're like, whew,
yes,
I don't know if I want to write that chapter.
Yeah,
I just did in one of your books.
Let me tell you, my editor at the time, she was like, it doesn't sound right. And I said, I don't care if it doesn't sound right. This is what she wants to put in here. This is
I'm like, do not edit me out of this.
And that's
this is my truth.
Is when we do the done for you package, is that we keep your voice in there.
Yeah.
I'm a big advocate of I don't use, big words and, sit there and talk to you all like I'm over against you. I'm like, if you're one of my best friends, I'm like, come on, let's sit on the couch and have a cup of coffee and like, what's going on? And it's just my way of doing things, right? So I always make sure that your voice stays in your book. But the hardest thing, and the reason why I did this course, is that timeline, to keep yourself accountable on a timeline.
Right.
And it's a 16-week program, and you can get your book in there and out in 90 days. And then the next 30 days is how to keep it on the bestseller status, how to get on more stages, etc. But having a book will get you on so many more stages.
I agree.
In front of so many more people than not having a book.
It's a completely different audience. Like, I can't tell you, you might be building a brand and you might be, putting yourself out on social media or showing up at events and speaking at events. But I can't tell you how many people I've had reach out that I never would have met before had they not picked up the book for somebody else, right? Maybe they picked it up for somebody else and now they read my chapter and they're like, they reach out to me on social media and we're like, I just read your chapter. Oh my gosh, this spoke to me. And I never would have had that connection with them had they not found me that way. And I think that that's another beautiful thing about podcasts is that podcasts kind of took the censorship out of things and allowed us to have real life conversations with people, whether we agreed with them, we disagreed with them. They gave them a free platform for free speech for now before Canada censors those things, right? But it gave us a platform to have honest conversations. And now people are trusting those podcasts and learning in very niche markets over whatever they see on TV, right? Like media spots. I mean, you can absolutely get a radio spot or a TV spot and push your book or your product or your service. Fantastic. Like all of those things work. But podcasts are something that anybody can do and anybody can get on. And often I'll have people say, well, how did you get on that podcast? I'm like, I asked.
Yes, exactly. And as a matter of fact, most podcasts, including ours and all the ones we collaborate with, are still like looking for more guests, right?
Always.
The thing is about building brand credibility. Most people that see that title are thinking products and services. And there is some truth to that. However, the biggest brand, and I always talk about, it's you. It's like, it's the fabric of who you are. And so building that brand, sharing those stories in these books is absolutely like some of the greatest stories I have. Some of my number one selling books aren't just based on business, but it's how I actually got there. And it's the journey.
Your struggles, because then you're talking to those people who were going through those things.
Exactly. It's the hero's journey, right? It's the ups and the downs along the way.
6 figures. And he didn't just hit 7 figures.
That's
he
right.
Struggled along the way. And you don't, you always see that. And I'm guilty of it too. You see people online, you're like, oh my God, they're living like a freaking perfect life and and then you get on the phone with them and you're like, oh, they start telling you this or that or whatever.
It's not just about jet streams. It's not just about courtside tickets at a playoff game or whatever it may be, right? That's what you see online. But so many people that I know that actually, put out that persona, they still have that hero's journey. So many of them were at rock bottom at some point in life, which actually catapulted them to where they're at. You're just seeing that little glimpse of who they are now. And so that's what I love about that. And so, Tina, for those that are actually not able to see this link, it's www.pinkdoormarketingagency.com, right? /
Aspiring Authors
Academy. Okay.
I love it.
So Aspiring Authors Academy for those that are just kind of listening in. And obviously you can connect directly with Tina and you can see this link and some of her advertising.
Last year I did the Be a Glow Stick Girl book and I'm doing volume 2 right now. And that glow stick moment in your life is that broken moment. That one that, if I had a glow stick, I'd show you, but you have to have a glow stick. You have to pop it. You have to break it almost in half and then shake it up and mix it all up in order for it to shine bright. And somebody told me that I was a glow stick many years ago, and that's where I got the idea from. And as I was putting volume 1 out, Christina was one of the authors in there sharing her broken glow stick moment. All of these others, amazing 18 other authors in there, all of these authors sharing that moment, whether it was alcohol abuse, drug abuse, being sexually molested, physically abused,
mental breakdowns. Like,
we all have that. Yes.
Right? But I'm going to make a really bold statement here, okay? Nobody gives a shit about your success if they don't know what you've been through to get there, right? Like we all have these idols that we're like, wow, look at them, look what they've created. But if we didn't know the things that they overcome,
I didn't do nothing.
Right?
It was all luck.
None of that is true.
They signed me up. No.
None of it's true. It's the little things that they overcame. And Ray Hickman taught me this a really long time ago, because I had a lot of really fast success in network marketing. I always have, because I get the industry, I get the business, I get the duplication. It's just a business. And if you learn how to do it, then it's easy to do. But he said, don't share your successes without sharing where you came from, because nobody will listen. And that was the best piece of advice I ever got. And what I love about Gary Vee is like, he has taken everybody on this journey with him for years. Yes. And he said, well, all my friends were out partying. I was up at 2 a.m. answering all my messages. I still answer all my comments. Right. Yeah. And like, it's so crazy, but he wrote this book called Crushing It. And he talks about having a personal brand. Everybody that is out there selling something needs a personal brand and needs to focus on that and building that credibility.
Yeah, he's pivoted over 50 times in products and services, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, he's one of those crazy people.
He loses customers, he loses followers, but then he gains so many more too.
Yeah, but he's true to himself. He talks about the journey all the time. And he's one of those people that really like brings it, again, like Uncensored Entrepreneurs, brings it real raw, real and raw. In the fact that, how can I teach you to make $1 million? That's what you see all the time, right? Like, buy my course on how to make your first 7 figures. How can I teach you how to, make $1 million if we haven't first talked about how to sell $100 online?
Right.
And so, and it's so true. And I have to remind myself of that as well when I'm working with clients. And I know each of you do as well, is like meeting them where they're at and just building those stepping stones towards whatever their goals and their dreams are. But so many people, right? They throw this huge net out there. They try to draw people in. I call it the Lambo movement, where it's flashy cars, flashy women, flashy guys, whatever it may be, right?
To be honest,
not everyone in business has an 8-pack. What's
right?
that?
I've seen people actually rent Lamborghinis and Rolls Royces and Bentleys to take pictures in front of and to act like, they just bought it, or they, it's theirs, or, whatever. And I'm going,
most of that is very short term. Even if you can sell, I mean, in most cases, you can sit there and show someone how to create a course and sell $20, $30, $40, $50,000 in that course. But it's going to be short-lived if you're not building your true, authentic brand around that and helping people on that journey of how they can, the longevity of how you can make $50,000, $100,000, $1 million every single year going forward. It's equipping people with the tools, not just all the little flashy inserts. And that's unfortunately what we see all over social media. So
it's the results, right? Like you build credibility through the results that you produce. And there's no way around that. You can't just go out there and try and sell something, because eventually you're going to get found out if you can't produce the results and you can't help people get those results. The other thing that will crush you in business if you don't gain the emotional intelligence that you need to deal with every human, every personality type, any, challenge that you have. Because if you are constantly reacting to other people in a way that is not professional, in a way that is emotional and based on emotion versus facts, you are going to be short-lived in the industry, because people are not going to want to work with you long-term. They're going to see that you're a loose cannon. They're going to see the side that maybe they don't want to see, and you lack trust. And so it's not just about building a product or service based on results. It's about building who you are. It's about becoming someone that nobody can take away from you, right? When you become something that no one can take away from you, then that becomes a priceless gift. And then you can sell whatever the hell you want.
Absolutely. That's it. That allows you to pivot, right? Mm-hmm. We talked, I gave this example, I think, on a few episodes back, but one of my clients was a comedian. Right. That's their product. That was their brand. And they had built their entire career, videos on stage, everything built around opening shows up with a comedic act. And so their YouTube, everything was all about comedy. And they said, I still feel so disconnected because there's this part of me that's led to my comedy that's real tragic. It's real authentic. It's real raw. Like, and if I do that, I'm going to lose my audience. And I told him, I said, that's the focus is showing people truly who you are. And in the beginning, when they did it, they did lose some viewership, but now it's actually twofold. So they've actually 2x'd their business just around being authentic, showing people that this is the dark side of where I was and how I had to create this brand to bring out happiness in myself and others. And there's so many more people that can appreciate that. And again, there's that immediate know, like, and trust factor, right?
Well, Ray Higdon did that. Ray Higdon, when he
same exact thing,
gave himself to Christ, and he said, I'm going to go live every single day and do some prayers and some godly advice and stuff like that. Of course, he lost tons of followers, but now I think he has 2x'd his followers since then.
It's standing in that, right? And who you reminded me of, Robert, is, do you know who Neil Brennan is? He co-produced the David Chappelle's show.
Oh yeah, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And so he's a stand-up comedian.
Oh, absolutely.
And he did this beautiful stand-up with 3 different microphones. And so he would tell long jokes, one-liners, and then like jokes that were based on his life and life lessons that were quite hard lessons and depressing, but it showed this other side of him that you're like, wow, like this is what this person has had to overcome. This is what they are having to deal with behind the scenes, because like Tina said, you don't get to see the behind the scenes of what everybody goes through. You don't get to see all those things, the things that gave them their chops, the things that allowed them to overcome judgment, to overcome the gossip or the bullshit that people are saying, right? You don't get to see that hard work. It shows up over here in the highlight reel. Yeah. And so when you open up your heart in this way, to align with people that are like-minded, that have the same values and beliefs as you, that are willing to stand on that hill with you and die there, because they've got this amazing message and they want to make an impact in the world and a ripple effect, then all of a sudden you create something that is so different and so bold, right? One of the statements that I always use is be bold, be brave, and be disruptive, because you are capable of things far beyond your wildest dreams if you just have the courage to go for it. And I think that if we all lived by that and didn't, really just focused forward on how we can help people, the results that we can provide, who we're becoming in the process is the journey. It is the work, right?
It is the work.
When you realize that, everything shifts.
Yeah. Actually, to even experience breakthrough in life, you have to fail, right? You have to fail.
Yes, it's necessary.
Talk about failing forward, right? As a coined phrase. But if you're sitting on the bench, right, and you're secluded and you're not sharing, and you're not opening yourself up to the possibilities of being vulnerable enough to fail, then unfortunately you won't have that opportunity to experience breakthrough. And I know that fear, so this is a perfect little segue into fear itself is typically what's keeping people from building this brand credibility in the marketplace. And so I didn't want to dismiss the fact that if you've had some major traumatic experience in life, it doesn't just mean that you're immediately just throwing it out there, right? I mean, sometimes that's so much for someone that they can't be that vulnerable all at once, but it's the journey of like knowing and letting people know that, you were in a broken state. And you're on this journey of healing and actually dealing with unresolved trauma. And so just that experience alone, without actually calling it whatever it may be, without calling it rape, without calling it, abuse, people have the ability to still watch you on this journey. And that still in itself builds know, like, and trust, because people that are hurting can resonate with that. In most cases in a room, we actually can see those. When you're in a hurt state, you can see those,
right?
That are in that same exact state. It's
fear has 2 different meanings. You can forget everything and run.
Yes.
Which a lot of people do, or you can face everything and rise.
Yes.
Absolutely. So it's your choice, the choice is yours. Which one do you want to do?
Right. So it's taking those baby steps. I just wanted to make sure I put it out there so that, it doesn't have to be all at once. Yeah. And the other thing is too, is as you're becoming more comfortable with that, and uncovering this fear, it can also happen from a marketing standpoint in those steps as well. And each one of us will help teach you how to do that. So whether it's initially in print, whether it's in pictures, later, maybe on a couple of pre-recorded videos, way before you actually go live. And again, that's why I love about the book, because you have that ability to start putting that stuff on paper, and it is transformational, right, Tina? Like before it ever goes to print,
Right.
before it ever gets in the hands of somebody else that says,
every
you
one of
changed my life, just that journey.
Every one of my clients wanted to quit at one point. Every single one of them called me and said, I can't do it.
Yes.
It was during that chapter that they were writing, that one chapter. They're like,
it uncovers the hurt.
Like,
of the pain,
I can't do that. I said, listen, this is why I give you an extra 6 weeks. I'm like, I'm not going to let you quit, but I'm going to give you a little bit of grace. How about we step away for about 2 weeks, do some processing, do some journaling, don't write anymore, and then come back. And they're like, whoo.
I feel like that's the case in so many things, right? Like, how many of you guys have been in a job that you wanted to quit right away because it got hard, or you started maybe a relationship? Oh my God! Well, maybe you did quit it. Maybe you did quit it in time.
Some people it might be every other day. I don't know.
Right, but even I've had people come into a network marketing business and within a week be like, I can't do this. It's too much. And I'm like, it's been a week. Like,
exactly.
What's happening here? And so what I really want to also speak about is like the long-term process that it is to build brand credibility. And I know we keep talking about Ray, but I remember going back to him when I was working with him, and I said, how did you come up with rank makers? Like, he's like, Christina, he's like, this was a 7-year process, an evolution of 7 years. He's like, we didn't just come up with the brand. We didn't just come up with the idea. We evolved into this. And it was this huge aha moment to me that I had to start somewhere. I had to start somewhere with the 6-figure profit plan. I had to start somewhere with the Accelerated Business Academy. I had to start somewhere to continue to build on something that was going to be significant and actually help people get results. But most people will not start because they want the full package deal. They want to sign up and have it done. And like, this is it. This is the
done for you. Like,
right.
In other words, pay me $500, $5,000, whatever it may be, and I'm going to hand you the secrets to making $1 million. And you know what? The secret really, the secret is you have to put in the work. You have to go down this journey of everything that we're talking about, and you're going to fail. You're going to fail multiple times.
More than most.
Yeah, exactly. But again, it's not that I look forward to failing. I don't, but it's that journey now where we've done it enough that we've embraced it, right? We're like, we're okay with no. Like, we're okay with moving forward and realizing if this doesn't work, I'm going to pivot. And I'm adjust just enough to make something else work. And that really is what allows us to experience breakthrough, right? It's what separates ourselves from those that have decided just to have some hourly job.
And, most people didn't stop at their first person they kissed, in 6th, 7th, 8th grade or whatever it was.
Yeah, that's right. The first rejection, I'm going to stop dating altogether.
I'm done. I'm never dating again.
If men stopped at the first no, every man on this planet.
Wait. The first no from somebody telling them no to date. Not, anything else. The Me Too movement to come onto the Uncensored Entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
I think it's so important to understand that, though, because when you embrace it, and it was really interesting because, we put ourselves in the face of no and fear every single day. Like, that's what we do to propel ourselves forward. And it was really interesting because Ryan and I had this conversation, and I hope he doesn't mind that I share it. But there was a couple,
if he doesn't, he's going to run behind you half naked. And
you're welcome. Right. But we had this conversation, and 25% of the decisions you make are not going to end the way that you want them to. Okay. So you've just got to embrace that, even if you're educated, even if you've thought it out, even if you've seen all sides. Right. And so we made one of those decisions together. And, I was like, oh shit, that was a bad one. So what do we learn from this? And that was the first thing I did. Learned about it. Okay. So I'm not going to do this again. These are the signs. This is what we need to pay attention to next time. Right. And I was done that chapter in 30 minutes, right? But Ryan had a lot more time to process, and he kept beating himself up over it. We should have made a better decision. We should have made a better decision. And finally I looked at him and I was like, honey, do you want to sit in this for another year? Or do you want to move forward? Because we have to move forward together and just say, hey, cut our losses.
Yes.
This is going to hold an anchor to your success. This is going to hold an anchor to you moving forward if we don't make decisions based on what we want in the future, but instead of what we fear from the past. I think that is a huge key. And sometimes, by the way, you need a friend, you need a spouse, you need somebody that's going to pull you out of that, because we all have different life experiences. We all have different emotions that we've been through, all things that we're getting over. And like, that's the beautiful thing about marriage. Usually we pick a partner where their strengths are kind of our weaknesses, and then our weaknesses are their strengths. And we end up completing the loop, right?
I'm coming from the outside looking in, and I love you. However,
we need to move through this. We need to forget. We need to like forget and move forward, because if we don't, that's going to be the anchor that doesn't allow us to take the next step that build it. And so many people get stuck in that step.
They do.
Forever.
And that's the rut.
They never get over it.
You can learn from the past, right? That's the only time we should ever be looking back is in the process of actually learning and adjusting right along the way. But if you continue to stay in the past, it'll anchor you in the present, and then it obviously starves you for the future, right? There's absolutely no way to move forward when you're just focused. And every one of us has a story we could share about exactly that. The fact of actually sitting there, sitting in that pain, sitting in that loss, whatever it may be, that's actually keeping you anchored, and it's preventing you from moving forward and enjoying life. And then here's the beautiful thing. When you do that, not only is it transformational for yourself, but it comes right back around into building this brand credibility, because then others will see it and they'll connect with it, and you can show them how to do the same thing by serving them.
A couple of weeks ago, we talked about entrepreneurs and the depression and anxiety that all entrepreneurs go through. So if you guys are watching this and you are experiencing something like that, just know that we all are going. I think it was like 86% of entrepreneurs are like depressed and have anxiety and have all this kind of stuff. I'm like, great.
It's why most quit, right? It's why 97%.
So go back and watch that. And if you guys are following us, make sure you guys follow, like, and share this show. So because so many people need it, and so many people need to hear the real, raw, and uncensored truth about being an entrepreneur.
Absolutely. So we're going to close out today's segment, and again, we're always looking for people that want to come on as a guest. We're looking for other ideas and topics. So if there's something that's been kind of sitting there and you're like, man, I would really like to hear a little bit more about this, feel free to message any one of us, quite frankly. And I do want to put it back on there as we kind of close out, and saying that if you're looking to take your story and to put it in print so that it transforms so many people's lives. I always say, and in fact, when I wrote my first book, think of your book as being the replacement of your business card. There's so much credibility and power in a printed, a story, a book that you can hand someone that really opens up the idea that, wow, this person really has shared a part of their life with me, and I want to do business with them. But it's www.pinkdoormarketingAgency.com/aspiring authors academy, or connect directly with Tina or any one of us, quite frankly, and we'll get you in the right path. So thank you so much. Any other closing remarks? We're good.
Tina, Isaac, we need you out of here tomorrow. Let's go.
On the weekend.
Saturday at 8 a.m.
See you next week.
See you next week, you
Thursday,
guys.
1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll take it from here. All right. See you later. I was going to say something about the baby, and I'm thinking, okay, we'll see. He may be on the show next week. You never know.
Literally.
We'll see.
All right.
We'll
take
see.
care.
Okay, bye.